There, a voice suddenly appeared, whispering in his ear. Hello. Sun Yun immediately swung his sword out of inertia, but still saw no one. The owner of this voice seemed to see through Sun Yun's thoughts at this moment. She told you, yes, you guessed right, you have entered the realm of consciousness again. This voice also told him that Mrs. Henner had implanted a seed in you, so you had the ability to penetrate the realm of consciousness. Sun Yun quickly put his hand behind his neck. Perhaps that was when she patted his shoulder and at the same time implanted some kind of seed into his body. Sun Yun continued to have his arms and legs chopped off. The girl clearly showed her true form standing in front of him. I advise you not to worry too much. Who knows, your outside body is being guarded by me. What she said made Sun Yun even more worried. It would be better if she didn't say it. She put the knife to Sun Yun's neck, kindly reminding him not to speak so rudely to a lady like her. Sun Yun should understand the situation. She could immediately poke a hole in his throat if she wanted to. Sun Yun asked her, "May I ask how I can prove my faith?" The girl laughed with excitement. Is Sun Yun's expression more pleasant now? She kindly explained to Sun Yun, right now you are in the realm of consciousness. You only need to look straight into your realm of consciousness and the sixth trial will end. Her explanation was too vague, making Sun Yun unable to understand. He continued to ask her, my realm of consciousness? What do you mean? She patiently explained to him that a person's perception will be greatly influenced by that person's faith. But you don't need to worry about that. The feeling is just like closing your eyes and falling into the dark night. Sun Yun gradually understood the problem. If so, then if he could feel the essence inside the realm of perception, where nothing could be seen, he could pass through the door. The golden moment has come, the girl declares to Sun Yun, in the name of Eileen, as an inquisitor nun. I declare, the sixth trial begins. Sun Yun immediately feels like he is being submerged deep into the bottom of the lake. Eileen rushed to follow him. She pulled him up, then asked him if he was surprised. This pain was very real. She reminded Sun Yun to quickly find a solution, otherwise he would experience that feeling of being drowned. Sun Yun has activated a special stone like taboo. Thanks to this skill, Sun Yun will not lose his temper, and the limitations on perception will also be weakened. Sun Yun gradually regained his composure. As long as he didn't panic, he could still hold his breath. Besides, just now, it seemed like he felt something pass by his fingertips. Eileen's voice still echoed in his hand. Oh, you're really steadfast. I didn't expect you to react by moving your body while your mind was lost in the realm of consciousness. Sun Yun's self-defense instinct even when unconscious makes Eileen extremely satisfied. She will keep the fact that she almost killed him a secret. Sun Yun swung a sword at Eileen. He rotated his arm. Now his body senses are gradually returning, although a bit slower than before. Sun Yun's performance in battle surprised Eileen more and more. Sun Yun wasn't supposed to be able to feel anything when he was in there, but it had only been 2 hours and he could already feel his own body. At this moment, Sun Yun tensed up a bit. In his mind, he thought he had only been in a hallucination for 2 minutes, but it had actually been 2 hours. Eileen kindly reminded him that time passes much faster in the real world than there. Eileen's seemingly kind words of thanks made Sun Yun lose his concentration. The situation just now is too dangerous. Remember, if you are stuck in here for the remaining 7 days you will die from failure. He became more and more urgent, having to quickly look into the realm of perception as quickly as possible. It would be great if the body's consciousness could be restored through the stone-like mind. If so, Sun Yun might also be able to activate many other skills. Sun Yun decided to take a risk. He activated the Fire Dragon Eye skill. He looked up. In front of him was something like a sea of blood. Eileen looked at Sun Yun in horror. She held her head and screamed. It can't be. What's going on? Why did the originally blurry realm of consciousness suddenly become so clear? Sun Yun successfully destroyed her consciousness. Eileen right now has something to ask Sun Yun. I have something to ask. Are you human? Why does my back grow these strange wings? The wings that grew behind Sun Yun were also the special medicine he activated, allowing Sun Yun to fly up in a winding path. There was his own awareness that he saw through the Fire Dragon Eye, although it wasn't really clear what it symbolized, but that place in his face was very distorted and scary. Sun Yoon landed from above, landing with an extremely powerful force. The administrators watching him all breathed a sigh of relief. He was finally able to wake up. The space here has been distorted by Sun Yoon. He wondered to Eileen, but does just doing that prove faith? Why don't I find it relevant? Eileen explained to him, proving that faith is the path to self-recognition. People often do not clearly understand their own beliefs. They do not even know what they believe or think about. The purpose of this test is to face the realm of consciousness created from the process of thinking, believing and acting. Overcome the dark past, become stronger, without losing your humane self. The 6th challenge has been passed. Sun Yoon continues to the final challenge. As soon as Sun Yoon pushed the door open, he saw a pair of giant eyes looking at him inside the door. Seeing those eyes, Sun Yoon immediately remembered the words of the nun in the 2nd challenge. She told him, "There has never been anyone." Not having passed the 7th test, Sun Yoon for some reason could not control himself. He unconsciously knelt down. Sun Yoon's eyes gradually closed. He felt like he was getting sleepier and sleepier. Sun Yoon right now is like a mouse. His life is on the brink of hanging by a thread. He couldn't breathe, so this was the real God, but Sun Yoon didn't want to give up. Because he was too weak, he lost his family. He did not want to die here. He still had many ambitions that could not be fulfilled. Sun Yoon used all his remaining will. He pinned the sword in his own palm. He had to be truly alert before this eye to have a chance of winning. Sun Yoon's action activated the blood weakness skill. All damage taken when used decreased by 17%. Sun Yoon was excited. He shouted loudly, affirming to everyone that he would not do stupid things anymore. He would not helplessly watch people trample on him anymore. Sun Yoon firmly believes in one thing: all challenges that are created will have a way to be solved. Sun Yoon pulled the sword out of his palm, blood shooting out from his palm into a stream. He rushed in front of the giant eye. Even though the chances of defeating it were extremely slim, he would still try. Sun Yoon put all the remaining strength in his body into this attack. A sword as powerful as a storm flew out from Sun Yoon's sword, aiming straight at the chosen target. But when his sword almost touched his eye, it suddenly dissolved into ash. Sun Yoon's courage impressed the Inquisitor. God is also very satisfied with Sun Yoon. It has been a long time since he met someone with such strong mental strength. I asked Sun Yoon to prove himself. The 7th gate just opened, then suddenly disappeared. Sun Yoon sat and played alone on a piece of land hanging in mid-air. His facial expression was filled with confusion. He still couldn't believe that something like a god really existed. Time went back a few minutes ago. A mirror appeared before Sun Yoon's eyes. Sun Yoon was extremely cautious as he approached. The system sent you a notification, linked with your future self, and began synchronizing. The image inside the mirror is also the future Sun Yoon. Sun Yoon gently touched it with a finger. The experiment begins to test the mind. The rate of assimilation with Sun Yoon's self in the mirror is gradually increasing. Sun Yoon's future image in the mirror disappeared. Instead, there was the appearance of a giant mouth that seemed to be swallowing Sun Yoon. The tower has found the most suitable test for challenger Han Sun Yoon. Witness that your belief will not change even in the future. After that, Sun Yoon was suddenly teleported to another place. He didn't know where that place was. He only saw the blue-haired man he defeated at door number 1 of the trial. He's Johan, he suddenly muttered in tears, feeling extremely helpless. My mirror. The mirror, before you understood the situation, you were pushed to another place. The challenge took him to a bustling space of Christmas celebrations in Korea. He saw his future self. He silently followed future Sun Yoon into an alley. Future Sun Yoon is doing extremely strange things, actively using the sword to slash his arm. Sun Yoon was extremely surprised and didn't know what he was planning to do in the future. Blood flowed from Sun Yoon's arm in rows, and with some force, future Sun Yoon controlled them to fly everywhere, ruthlessly taking the lives of rows of people. Sun Yoon was extremely angry. He cursed himself as a crazy person. The system informed him that the assimilation rate between you and the self in the mirror increased sharply by 10%. Sun Yun's whole body emitted a red light, his chest felt like it was about to break into 100 pieces. A mixed feeling of disgust, guilt, madness, and rage are all the feelings Sun Yun is feeling right now. At that moment, behind Sun Yun, Johan suddenly appeared. He was sure that Sun Yun was the one who stole his mirror. Then, he touched Sun Yun's head, a murderous aura emitted from his body. He created ropes of anger that covered Sun Yun's head. It was also because of this action of his that all of Han Challenger Sun Yun's mind communication skills were sealed. Sun Yun once said he couldn't bear to lose. He tried to turn the world around. He swung his sword to attack Johan. Johan's head was severed by Sun Yun, but the seal in his head still remained. Sun Yun tries to keep a spirit of steel. While testing the mind, protecting the spirit is very important. If the calm mind has been sealed, how can Sun Yun do it? Behind Sun Yun, streams of black gas continued to appear. He turned to look back, his palms absorbing those things. Sun Yun's smile suddenly appeared. Knowing this early, he had crossed the limit just now. The assimilation rate between Sun Yun and the self in the mirror increased sharply by 20%. Due to too much mental stress, Sun Yun is falling into an abnormal state. Sun Yun floated in the air. He watched the way future Sun Yun moved with a heavy aura. He couldn't understand why he did such cruel things. He admitted that, indeed, he was obsessed with power, but he could not do such a cruel thing. Sun Yun continues to fall into an abnormal state of change. If the change is not treated, his mana circuit skill proficiency will decrease by at most 10%. Mana circuit skill proficiency decreased. Sun Yun was in extreme pain. He was in so much pain that he had to hug his chest. His mana circuit was gradually heating up. Sun Yun continues to be taken to another place. He sees himself going to the martial arts world. Future Sun Yun loudly asked to meet the leader of the Martial Arts Alliance. Immediately, a man named Li Jin-wan appeared. He introduced himself to Sun Yun as the master of martial arts. Sun Yun was extremely impolite. Without saying a word, he took the initiative to attack. The fight between Sun Yun and the martial arts master was unimaginable. Rocks and dirt flew up everywhere. Future Sun Yun even acts cruelly, killing the people he just said he would spare. When the match ended, Sun Yun successfully made the martial arts leader kneel at his feet. He said to Sun Yun, "I was deceived. You killed everyone you said you would spare. Aren't you ashamed?" Sun Yun seemed to have turned into a strange person. He calmly said, "No, in your eyes, those cowards are just your fighting resources. Resources that don't help you. You must be tired or injured." Sun Yun turned his back on the martial arts master. He slowly raised his hand high. The martial arts master's head immediately separated from his neck. Sun Yun suddenly vomited blood. The assimilation rate between him and himself in the mirror increased sharply by 30%. Sun Yun is currently in extreme pain. The assimilation rate between him and the self in the mirror increased sharply by 40%, then 50%. What would happen if the assimilation rate were continuously increased? Future Sun Yun is extremely excited. This satisfaction cannot be chased away. A fierce beam suddenly appeared in the sky, hitting the tall building in the sky. Sun Hun, extremely angry, kicked the door in. He said loudly, "Do you think you can just leave after doing such shit?" Han Sun Yun and Sun Yun turned their heads to look, their faces expressionless, completely different from before. Ha Son couldn't believe it even more. He didn't understand why Sun Yun would do things like this. Her tears continued to flow down. She excitedly asked Sun Yun loudly, "Why did you choose to kill people to become stronger?" Sun Yun coldly dropped the body in his arms. His face was extremely strange. If they wanted to know the real reason, he would tell them. He killed people because it helped his growth. The reason is as simple as that. Sun Hun slowly walked forward. Under this pouring rain was the most suitable condition for him to summon thunder. He reminded Sun Yun, "Better prepare yourself to die." Sun Hun jumped high. He absorbed the lightning inside his hammer. He would decide life or death with Sun Yun. Sun Yun's smile became more and more strange. He also had something to say to Sun Hun. "You are not the same Sun Yun as before. Stop doing useless things." Future Sun Yun activates the soul-stealing skill. This is an extremely cruel way to end a person's life. It easily cuts the opponent in half in one activation. Sung Han was cut in half before Ha Son's eyes. Ha Son helplessly screamed, "Please wake up, Han Sung Yoon." Sung Yoon is really sinking deep in the mud right now. If you make a mistake, you will be swallowed by Sung Yoon's mind. Now, it was only 50% synchronized, but it already made him feel like his mind was split into two. Sung Yoon became more and more urgent. He had to find a solution before it was too late. The assimilation between him and the image in the mirror had now increased to 60%. The proficiency of the mana circuit skill continuously decreased. Sung Yoon's body was bleeding. The assimilation between him and the image in the mirror grew larger and larger, currently reaching 70%. Even though he didn't want to admit it, Sung Yoon had to say, he couldn't hold on any longer. This mental shock was too great. He couldn't control his whole body, slowly sinking into the swamp below his feet. Sung Yoon's aura gradually disappeared. The expression on his face slowly became similar to that of a shadow. His body had now completely sunk into the swamp. Sung Yoon was submerged in the mud, but challenges still continued to make things difficult for him. The blue-haired man suddenly appeared next to him. He quietly asked if Sung Yoon was the one who took my mirror. Sung Yoon vaguely remembered that when he defeated him at door number 1, he took away a treasure from him. Could it be that what he was talking about was that thing? Sung Yoon remembered the useful effect of the mirror. He tried to use his remaining strength to lift the mirror out of the mud. The C+ rank Archpriest's mirror filled with holy magic activated. The holy shield protected him and eliminated all mental disturbances to a certain extent. Sung Yoon was finally able to escape the strings that were imprisoning his power, and his abnormal state of chaotic energy was removed. Since Sung Yoon regained control of himself, the fake name Sung Yoon is just a name. His body suddenly stopped, standing motionless. Not only that, a crack appeared on his face, and a hand came out from inside, tearing his body in two. Sung V was revived in his own body. He said loudly, "I will not let myself be swallowed." This action of Sung Yoon helped him complete the Iron Heart and increase his physical strength by 1 point. You got the message. You proved that your faith will not change. The mind test is over. Administrators' viewing privileges are restored. All contracts Sung Yoon signed with them are preserved. Because the Inquisitor was satisfied with Sung Yoon's performance, he decided he wanted to meet him. He used forced summoning, forcing him to go to the divine realm. In addition, the Inquisitor God used divine power on the trial tower to gain temporary authority. Admins are currently unable to continue monitoring Sung Yoon. Sung Yoon was brought into the divine realm for interrogation. Sung Yoon stood in the middle of a vast corner of the sky. Could this place be some kind of divine realm? At that moment, a man with silver hair appeared. He suddenly asked Sung Yoon, "Who are you? Why do I feel divine power from you?" The man saw the way Sung Yoon was watching him. He continued talking to him. "You don't have to stare at me like that, but surely my appearance in your eyes is just a blanket of bright light. But looking at you directly like that makes me feel even more strange. Could it be that you are a divine clone created by the tower?" Sung Yoon didn't understand what he was trying to say, nor did he know what a divine copy was. The god of Inquisitor explained to him, the divine clone is also known as the administrator. He wanted to ask Sung Yoon if he had received divine power through a contract with the tower. Sung Yoon honestly told him that he was not an administrator but just a fake challenger. The Inquisitor looked more closely at Sung Yoon. As expected, he was different from the divine copy. The divine power he possessed was his own. He continued to say things that made Sung Yoon extremely confused. Sung Yoon's appearance made him feel more interesting. It seemed that the tower had become more interesting while he was absent. They must have realized that they could not create authentic things using divine copies. The Inquisitor spoke and then answered himself in Sung Yoon's bewilderment. Creating a false identity using an apostle of the divine clone. I see. Challenging the false Sung Yoon, who is not an ordinary existence. Sung Yoon fell into his own thoughts. His words were like saying Sung Yoon had done something extraordinary. But all he did was kill Chiron and accidentally received divine power. He wondered if divine power was so important. Sun Yun's attitude of not knowing anything made the Inquisitor extremely surprised. Could it be that he really didn't know the answer when he had extracted divine power? He thought that he had eliminated all traces of the god because he already knew, but it seemed that Sun Yun knew nothing. What Sun Yun explained to him was that he only accidentally had divine power. How could he know if he accidentally got it? In the eyes of the god, Sun Yun accidentally gained divine power but completely eliminated traces of the god. He told him, perhaps he didn't realize it, but extracting Chiron's divine power was not a coincidence. He could feel that this was clearly a cause and effect relationship. He also told him that this Tower of Trials would definitely have high expectations for Sun Yun. But immediately after that, he received anger from the tower. The tower originally did not allow the god to reveal anything to Sun Yun, but he accidentally said it, so the tower was extremely angry. After that, he had nothing more to say to Sun Yun and left, leaving Sun Yun with countless things to ask. Sun Yun pondered over the questions left unanswered without a clear explanation. The more he thought about it, the more he had a headache, wondering what those things were. He only left a few words for Sun Yun: when you look at nothingness, nothingness will also look back at you. The void is always waiting for an opportunity to penetrate one's mind. That is something one should be wary of. He asked Sun Yun to quickly return. This is not the place where Sun Yun should stay long. If Sun Yun ever got to the temple for questioning, then he would be able to answer a few questions for him. He gave him another piece of advice: don't believe in the gods. Now, they see Sun Yun as an enemy. Immediately after that, Sun Yun was moved to the waiting room of the 12th floor. He completed the 11th floor challenge, despite facing countless difficulties. Reward notifications are continuously sent to you. The Inquisitor's words were still echoing in his head. A transcendent existence told him that absorbing Chiron's divine power was not a coincidence, but a cause and effect relationship. That means the tower wants you to absorb the divine power and make it yours. Sun Yun can be sure that it is cause and effect. Furthermore, he also said that the tower had high expectations of him. Sun Yun will temporarily consider everything done by the tower, from the fact that he can sign contracts with the administrators, to the fact that he can extract Chiron's divine power. Sun Yun really wants to know what the real purpose behind this tower is. Right now, you don't understand anything, but in the future you will definitely find them. Sun Yun looked down. He continued to think. Even if the gods considered him an enemy, they still couldn't do anything to him thanks to the tower. Next, he received a notification that the system was expanding and that the Earth had been registered as an official tower climbing dimension in the Trial Tower. Thanks to the benefits of registration, invasive dimension protection will be added. Now fake challengers from other dimensions will receive penalties to Earth. Fake challengers other than pioneers will receive increased income. Now, admins can continue to follow the fake challenge of Han Sun Yun. Thiet Huyat and Bak Hak saw him safely pass the challenge and were extremely happy. They thought Sun Yun had died inside the 11th floor challenge. The smile on Sun Yun's lips immediately disappeared. The words, divine copy. I think you guys are called administrators of the God of Investigation, suddenly appeared in his mind. You also remember, administrators are also gods. Can you trust them? Sun Yun pursed his lips. At this moment, he couldn't trust anyone. He decided to step into Iron Blood's barrier. As soon as Thiet Huyat received the notice that he was here, he quickly ran out. While she was concerned, Sun Yun suddenly pulled out his sword and attacked her. If Thiet Huyat hadn't reacted quickly, Sun Yun would have been impaled. Sun Yun asked her with blank eyes, "Are all of you administrators cooperating with the tower to take advantage of me?" Thiet Huyat smirked. She thought that Sun Yun was still under the influence. Sun Yun attacked Thiet Huyat vigorously. Thiet Huyat tried to convince Sun Yun with words. She loudly asked Sun Yun to calm down. Sun Yun was still extremely stubborn, constantly repeating the words, "The administrators and the tower. There was some connection between them, right? To take advantage of the fake challenges." Thiet Huyat proactively backed away. Sun Yun's words were extremely offensive. She destroyed Sun Yun's moves that were rushing towards her and said, "Control your emotions, Han Sun Yun." Lifeless eyes, strange smile. Does Sun Yun look like a sober person? Thiet Hya's face suddenly became panicked. She looked at the way Sun Yoon was performing the attack. If he really put all his strength into that attack, this place could turn into dust. Sun Yoon's move followed a straight line, running across the cold snow, cutting off half of Thiet Hya's house. Thiet Hya's eyes were fiery, she gritted her teeth. If Sun Yoon really wanted to do that, don't blame her for being heavy-handed. Iron Blood began to counterattack. Hundreds of swords appeared in the sky, simultaneously rushing towards where Sun Yoon was standing. Sun Yoon dodged left and right to defend. Thiet Hya's speed was one level higher than his. She suddenly appeared behind Sun Yoon. She grabbed his hair, coldly asked him where he wanted to run. After that, she forcefully pinned Sun Yoon's head down on the snow. Don't look like she didn't fight the patties but did the work. Sun Yoon was still fearless. He continued to swing his sword to attack Thiet Huyet. Thiet Huyet waved his hand, and Sun Yoon was immediately surrounded by swords, making him unable to move. Thiet Huyet punished Sun Yoon by throwing him up a tree. Sun Yoon looked like a dried fish right now. Thiet Huyet frowned at him. Of course she would take off the glare for Sun Yoon, but she was worried that the next time he came here, her house would be vaporized. Thiet Huyet put down the teacup, she thought. The person she saw when Sun Yoon thought he was awake was actually a remnant of the abyss. And it had not been completely removed from his body. It had temporarily changed Sun Yoon's personality. Even if Sun Yoon became twisted, those were his current questions and doubts. Sun Yoon's suspicions for the administrators were probably not completely fake. Here, Thiet Huyet will tell Sun Yoon once and for all. No one can read the mind of the tower, not even the administrators. Sun Yoon asked Thiet Huyet again, so what does the tower expect from me? Thiet Huyet picked up her sword and cut the rope that was hanging Sun Yoon. She replied to Sun Yoon, how could the tower expect from a fake challenge? As far as Thiet Huyet knew, the tower had never let challengers know its intentions, so it was completely unreasonable for the tower to expect something from a challenger. Thiet Huyet looked at Sun Yoon's current expression. Maybe you heard something? Sun Yoon told Thiet Huyet, all of this is because the Inquisitor God told you. Thiet Huyet frowned at him. She finally understood why Sun Yoon was suspicious. Thiet Huyet stood up. She told him, I am also a subordinate of the tower. She passed by Sun Yoon. She was very happy because Sun Yoon liked tea. The tea Sun Yoon was drinking was made from black dragon urine, so she hoped Sun Yoon would drink all of it. Sun Yoon's face turned pale. The tea that had gone down his throat was also refluxed by Thiet Hya's simple sentence. Drinking the black dragon's urine made his mind clear, and he suddenly remembered something that the Inquisitor also said. Administrators are the ones who can obtain divine clones through a contract with the tower. Thiet Huyet knows the information Sun Yoon just said, but right now she still can't tell Sun Yoon. Sun Yoon still had something to ask. He told her. She said she had a wish she earnestly wanted to fulfill. The White Crane Swordmaster said a wish was a right that the tower would grant to the administrators, and the administrators could accomplish what they wanted through challengers who had signed disciple contracts. Sun Yoon looked at Thiet Hya's indifferent attitude. He didn't understand why she didn't say these words to him from the beginning. Thiet Huyet stood up again. She didn't tell Sun Yoon because she was afraid. She explained to Sun Yoon, it was Sun Yoon who was underestimating himself. She saw how obsessed Sun Yoon was about his maturity. So, because of Sun Yoon's maturity, she thought he would rush into earnest wishes like a moth. Sun Yoon felt a bit disappointed in his heart. Maybe it was because he was incompetent. Thiet Huyet raised her eyes to look at Sun Yoon. Although she did not know how Sun Yoon defined talent, soon he would know how strong he was because of the test on the 12th floor. According to Thiet Hya's words, talent is something that Sun Yoon cannot change. Natural talent is divided into 3 types of talent in the world of hunters. Skill acquisition, stat increase, trait enlightenment. These are called the 3 gifts of the hunter. And Sun Yoon was born without any of those. He couldn't acquire skills, his abilities didn't increase, and he didn't even enlighten to a characteristic. After joining the trial tower, many things changed, but the truth did not. The truth is that a talentless bastard cannot develop because of his characteristics. Sun Yun also thought that Thiat Huyat was mistaken about his talent. If you had something like that, then you would have become a famous hunter even without going to the tower. The trial on the 12th floor was a battle with Sun Yun himself, a trial where Sun Yun needed to fight and win with a clone of himself. Sun Yun sighed. If he kept thinking about it, he wouldn't be able to solve anything. This test is about looking at yourself objectively. You will see this as an opportunity to improve your fighting skills. Sun Yun took out a C+ level skill proficiency increasing potion. This is a special medicine produced by the tower for people with talent in skills. When consumed, the proficiency of one of the possible skills can randomly increase by 10%. Catherine also gave him her medicine, so now Sun Yun had a total of 3 bottles here. He drank a potion, then decided to choose to level up his mana manipulation ability. Because this skill is the foundation for all the others, it is well worth the investment. Next, Sun Yun activated the skill Fire Dragon Eye. He saw all the information of the S-rank verification mirror that had just been received from the 11th floor trial. Sun Yun can obtain skills that are ingrained in the remaining thoughts for a limited time. However, the user doesn't get to decide which skills to get in there, it's all up to luck. Currently, the God of Inquisition has specially changed part of the effect for fake challenges. The exclusive effect of the verification mirror is activated. Sun Yun saw his image in the mirror. The notification continued to appear. The exclusive effect of the old verification mirror was activated, and Sun Yun accidentally obtained the skill ingrained in his subconscious. He inherited the A+ level combat focus skill, merging his previous combat experience into the A+ level combat focus skill. The experience of the A+ level combat concentration skill has increased by 11%. Sun Yun nodded with satisfaction. What he received was not bad. He continued to enter the 12th level trial. The topic of the current trial was overcoming limits. The condition to complete the trial is to kill your clone within the allowed time. If you fail, you will die. This challenge took place at a temple. As soon as Sun Yun set foot inside, he immediately received a notification. The Dark God's blessing discovered an intruder in the ancient palace and created a guardian. Sun Yun fiercely approached. Every word Thiat Huyat said to this challenge, Sun Yun remembered very clearly. The opponent he must defeat will know all of his moves, and Sun Yun could be crushed if he underestimates his own talent. The challenge Sun Yun faces is also his own. He must defeat the main body that the Dark God has just created. Sun Yun also doesn't understand why he gets involved with the gods. It's so confusing. He relied on Thiat Huya's advice and what he had heard while using the questionnaire, that the counterfeiter could only copy one item. What he chose was the Vampire Count's tailcoat. He chose a defensive item. Sun Yun pulled out his sword. If this fake Sun Yun could really copy clothes, then this was a good opportunity for him to evaluate himself. Sun Yun activates the instant acceleration skill, and at the same time activates the wind-like skill. The overall speed increases by 70%. The accumulated points in use are 7 points. This is when Sun Yun confirmed his talent. Since Sun Yun activated the combat concentration skill, his concentration level doubled, making Sun Yun feel like the time around him was slowing down. It turns out, this is the feeling of focusing on fighting that Sun Yun can finally feel. He continued to activate the skill, Sword Intent, Power, focusing all the skills he had just activated to attack fake Sun Yun. The fake immediately used the Iron Blood Sword for defense. Sun Yun stood opposite and looked at him. If he used the Iron Blood Sword, then he would use the shield to counterattack. As expected, all of those things were guessed by Sun Yun. He was still silently evaluating his opponent. The combination of Iron Blood Sword and counterattack shield was basically the clone's only choice. His eyes suddenly turned into a surprised expression. Fake Sun Yun turned the shield into another sword. His actions surprised Sun Yun. Who would have thought that he even knew this trick? The dual swords are something that Sun Yun and his main body have never used. In real combat, because changing the shield to counter-attack takes a lot of mana and spiritual energy, he doesn't use this method. So why does this fake guy use that disadvantageous method? Of course, Sun Yun had also thought about the dual sword technique, but when he used it in a real-life battle, It was truly incomprehensible. Fake Sun Yun proactively rushed to attack Sun Yun. He attacked continuously, just like Sun Yun's fighting movements. Even though the current situation was unclear, it seemed like he was the loser if only in terms of skills. Sun Yun doesn't understand why he is the original, but the original is inferior to the fake in terms of skills. He fell back to avoid his opponent's attack. In his mind, he suddenly thought of the skill of Indomitable Will. This is a skill with a basic effect. When you face an enemy stronger than you, your stamina and concentration will skyrocket. Sun Yun has an advantage in the number of items, so it is very possible that he accidentally helped him activate his Indomitable Will. So now fake Sun Yun's physical strength is better than his. Sun Yun defended his opponent's attacks while focusing on thinking and analyzing the situation. In addition, if fake Sun Yun increased his combat focus to the highest level, making this stat currently at a transcendent level, then it could be explained. The body's swords continuously swung out, seemingly surrounding Sun Yun without even him being able to do anything. He gritted his teeth. The biggest problem he needed to face right now was the swordsmanship this clone was using. Sun Yun stared at the sword coming at him. Even though it was shown through twin swords, this was definitely his sword move. Sun Yun was hit by his body's attack. His whole body fell against the stone wall. He immediately stood up, thanks to his attack. Sun Yun had no doubt that his sword move was Lam Long Thien Kiem and this was Nam Gung Hyuk's sword move. Even though Sun Yun only encountered Nam Gung Hyuk once, he still clearly remembers those fanatical eyes that made him understand the reason for his arrogant words. All of his disdain depends on no special skills or abilities, just pure swordsmanship. It made him wonder, is it true what Nam Gung Hyuk said? Swordsmanship can ultimately surpass skill. Because Nam Gung Hyuk's swordsmanship did not use any skills, he considered it impossible to learn that swordsmanship. He said, but soon, the person who will know how much he underestimated himself of iron blood still echoed in his head. He seemed to have thought of something. Could this be the real talent that Thiet Huyat mentioned? Sun Yun proactively rushed forward. Because the system was evaluating him at a disadvantage, he decided to activate the Indomitable Will skill. Fake Sun Yun was still extremely arrogant. He jumped high, preparing to use two swords to attack Sun Yun. Sun Yun clenched his teeth in indignation. He activated the combat concentration skill. The player's concentration increased 10 times. He swung his sword and ran forward, one swing of the sword, pushing the body back a few steps. The opponent continued to run forward. Sun Yun swung a new sword. Fresh blood flowed out, but unfortunately, that blood was Sun Yun's blood. Even he had to admit his opponent was a monster. Sun Yun lands on the ground. The player's concentration increases 15 times. He moved around in the air, then suddenly appeared behind the body. He attacked directly from behind, and the area the body was standing on immediately burst open. He activated the Iron Wing skill, flying at maximum speed. His concentration increased 17 times. Sun Yun rushed towards the main body like an arrow with a target. He finally caught the main body. When Sun Yun was about to strike the blow to end everything, the essence stretched out his arm bulging. Sun Yun was not rude and directly caused his arm to explode. Sun Yun's vision is also limited because of his blood. When the blood flow spread into two places, that was when he disappeared. Behind Sun Yun suddenly a ray of light flashed. He was standing behind him. The sword ran in a straight line towards him. Would Sun Yun die here? Sun Yun quickly leaned back. His concentration increased 20 times. He entered a state of concentration beyond the limit. Sun Yun somersaulted in the air, then returned to his original position. Sun Yun seemed to turn into a different person. This fake guy dared to be rude to him. The game officially begins. Sun Yun rushed to counterattack. Before he could show his skills, fake Sun Yun's sword was one step faster. He repeatedly attacked Sun Yun. A direct attack left Sun Yun defenseless. His whole body suffered heavy damage. He lost his balance and crashed into the cliff. Because Sun Yun had activated all his skills and body beforehand, he would not be affected by the attack. In his hand, he held drops of blood. He controlled the drops of blood into bullets. simultaneously attacking the Fa K line. Fake goods constantly move, but all of his moving directions are within Sun Yun's calculations, preventing fake goods from escaping real goods. He was hit by Sun Yun's attack. The position he was standing on exploded. Sun Yun proudly asked him, "How does it taste?" He suddenly appeared behind him again, with the intention of attacking Sun Yun in a lightning-fast manner, fighting quickly and winning quickly. Sun Yun is him. He is also Sun Yun. Sun Yun realized his presence, turned around, and cut off his arm. Even though he is a fake Sun Yun, he still has all the skills of the real Sun Yun. He used the same healing skill as Sun Yun, his arm slowly healed. Elsewhere, Thiet Huyet is observing Sun Yun's trial through a magic mirror. She was extremely confused and slammed the teacup on the table. She was extremely uncomfortable. Not only could she not get involved in the battle, but she also could not just stand there and watch like this. She turned her head to look behind, as if talking to someone. She was a bit worried about the tower's reaction. When she wanted to contact Sun Yun, the mirror in front of her suddenly disappeared, and her messages were also temporarily disabled to prevent interference from others. The smile on Thiet Hya's lips curled up. "Please forgive me. I just wanted to reveal some clues to him." At the same time, Sun Yun's knuckles suddenly moved on their own, and he punched himself in the face, making the fake guy extremely confused. Sun Yun also seemed to understand something. Deep inside Sun Yun suddenly appeared a scream, "Don't touch this body anymore and know your fate." Sun Yun is still imprisoned by the dark forces, but he never gives up. He continuously fights to escape this situation. The swamp slowly rose, not only that, but also transformed into a shape similar to Sun Yun. His voice rang out, "I fight for you who are about to die, but you still show no gratitude." Future Sun Yun has not been completely destroyed. He is standing in front of him and wants to take over his body. Seeing him become even more agitated, Sun Yun asked him to quickly leave his body. Future Sun Yun looked mysterious. He asked Sun Yun, who still didn't know why, "You idiot." After that, he asked Sun Yun to observe carefully. Sun Yun had practiced for a long time and had even climbed to the 12th floor of this tower. But now, he doesn't dare to face himself. It's really pitiful. Sun Yun kept resisting, escaping from the ropes that were tying him. He wanted to punch him. How could he not need a guy like him to judge him? Future Sun Yun only needs to raise 2 fingers. Wooden bars immediately appear in front of him, forming a prison, blocking Sun Yun's attack. He turned and left, leaving Sun Yun with extreme anger. Sun Yun continuously punched the wooden bars with his bare hands, beating and cursing at him. Sun Yun accidentally remembered the advice. Sun Yun suddenly kindly reminded Sun Yun, "If you keep relying on your skills, you will never be able to use real techniques." He suggested that Sun Yun should stay calm for the rest of his life and just observe. From now on, he will control this body for him. Sun Yun's future gradually disappeared before Sun Yun's eyes. Sun Yun was imprisoned by him in an iron cage. He helplessly screamed. Sun Yun's attack suddenly became stronger. Sun Yun is no longer Sun Yun now. The body was controlled by future Sun Yun. He quickly grasped the current situation. At that moment, Thiet Tui sent Sun Yun an item. This is called Grade B Black Dragon, a spiritual medicine created after refining black dragon liquid. When used, mental strength and resistance will increase, and the mind will be clear. Real Sun Yun screamed loudly. He was using all his strength to escape the prison cage. While doing it outside, Sun Yun's fingertips moved automatically, forcing him to drink the iron blood item scent. At that moment, Sun Yun's body rushed in. He brutally cut off future Sun Yun's arm. The bottle of items also slipped out of reach. Sun Yun's body moved automatically. He ran in the direction of the medicine bottle, then put all his strength into biting the bottle. The medicine and glass mixed together. Together they entered Sun Yun's mouth. Sun Yun spit out a few drops of blood. He officially regained control of his body. Sun Yun's return this time made him think differently. While his other self was fighting, he could completely feel the feeling of letting go. Relying on his own skills, if his doppelganger could do it, then he believed he could do it himself. Sun Yun concentrated his mind. his concentration increased 20 times. Sun Yun, who had been disturbed by those initial thoughts, finally felt enlightenment in that moment that seemed to last forever. He realized he could no longer rely on the skills he had acquired up until now. Sun Yun's main body proactively rushed forward, he attacked him continuously. Sun Yun was no longer in a hurry, he leaned forward defensively. He could see all the attacks he swung and successfully defended them. Sun Yun told himself, he had to shake it all off and adapt, ignore common sense, let go of stubbornness. And finally freeing himself from all these illusions thanks to these thoughts, Sun Yun achieved enlightenment, his physical strength increased by 1. Not only that, he also achieved ecstasy, mana increased by 4. The system displays a notification that the player is facing a completely defeatable enemy and the indomitable mind skill has been disabled. Sun Yun proactively approached with his sword, this was when he would counterattack. Sun Yun destroyed all the rocks that fake Sun Yun threw at him. His target was only fake Sun Yun. Sun Yun's spirit is extremely comfortable. He can now confidently say that he has sword skills similar to Nam Gung Hyuk's. It is like a real swordsman. Sun Yun somersaulted in the air, his eyes filled with determination. He activated the skill as elegant as the wind and accelerated instantly. He somersaulted in the air, then moving over the rocks. He attacked the fake in a flurry. Fake Sun Yun was beaten by Sun Yun. His whole body fell backwards. No fake would give in so easily. The fake used 2 swords to attack Sun Yun, not only that, but also attacked him from behind. Sun Yun had already guessed it, he fell backwards, then landed on the ground. Sun Yun's current attitude makes his opponents a bit surprised as to why Sun Yun has this state. He continued to rush to attack him. Standing in front of his attacks, Sun Yun pulled out a sword to block. When confronting the clone like this, things became more and more clear. Now he was looking at him from an observational perspective as he performed his skills. Only then did he gradually realize the root cause of those skills, not to mention, when fighting, at this extreme speed. Sun Yun was extremely confident, he seemed to have grasped the core issue to win. He used his sword skill to attack the clone. No wonder Sun Yun frowned, in just a short time, Sun Yun has become so strong. He became extremely hasty and continuously attacked Sun Yun. Sun Yun tilted his head to the side. He felt himself gradually perfecting this origin. He could also feel all the redundant movements that could be omitted from the clone's sword skills. Sun Yun looked at the star's attack. He didn't think he could fully demonstrate Nam Gung Hyuk's real sword skills, because his level was limited. He just focuses more on imitating Nam Gung Hyuk's actions. Once the Iron Blood Sword special skill has been activated, the Will of Disbelief will be able to weaken the fire properties of the sword aura, from which he can cut through anything. In this case, Sun Yun is practicing with Nam Gung Hyuk's sword skills, so he needs to focus more on strengthening his fire sword skills. Sun Yun now completely had the upper hand, he continuously attacked him, leaving him with no way to run. His sword passed through his arm, a stream of blood flowed out. Sun Yun activated the fake blood Panfoot Seeker skill. His opponent's blood suddenly turned into extremely sharp arrows, simultaneously rushing towards the fake Sun Yun. He saw the unstable situation and quickly moved away. Counterfeit Sun Yun avoided the melon shell and coconut shell. Sun Yun appeared behind him. A stream of fresh blood flowed out from his shoulder. He frowned and frowned. The wound on his shoulder was immediately healed. The battle has not yet come to an end. Fake Sun Yun deliberately rotates the 2 swords in a circle. When Sun Yun ran to attack him, he pushed him away. His opponent's sudden change made him feel strange. The ferocity and strength of his sword skills just now were still present. Why now suddenly change to a soft sword style where every sword stroke follows the flow of energy? Sword-like is another skill that Nam Gung Hyuk once revealed. This guy being able to imitate to this extent really opened Sun Yun's eyes. Sun Yun looked at the way he copied everything, which also made him extremely surprised. Even though he didn't like him at all, he made Sun Yun have eyes to see his own talent. He guessed he couldn't win without taking risks. The counterattack shield skill was activated by Sun Yun. Sun Yun asked him very arrogantly, "Why are you so surprised? If you can do it, I can do it too. Having finished speaking, Sun Yun proactively flew towards him and continuously attacked him. However, you still encounter many difficulties, he can still attack you. He and his opponent fought from the ground to the air, both were evenly matched, the battle still showed no signs of ending. While fighting with him, Sun Yun was sure of one thing. This fake Sun Yun's sword skills were only superficial, if that was the case, he would take a little risk. Sun Yun stretched out his leg and kicked him in the stomach. He was kicked into the air by Sun Yun's kick. His eyes glowed, a powerful attack like a storm headed straight to the ground. The ground seemed to be divided in two. Sun Yun quickly ran away. Counterfeit Sun Yun chose that move with the enhanced blood sword, but the damage was converted by the counterattack shield, which also meant that Sun Yun needed to perform another move. He unleashed another powerful attack. Sun Yun frowned defensively, he was okay. But the sword in his hand was destroyed. The clone threw away the sword in his hand. Sun Yun looked at what he was preparing to do, he thought, and clone, if you were me. Then now, when the energy released from the anti-sword is launched, my deadly attack was prepared. Then you will think it is an opportunity. Sun Yun replica with extremely excited expression. He crashed into Sun Yun, completely consistent with what Sun Yun was thinking. Sun Yun couldn't stop laughing, the fish finally took the bait. Sun Yun feels like he is in his strongest state, truly crazy strong. Sun Yun stood in one place, he kicked him and rolled on the ground. Fake Sun Yun is still extremely stubborn, he will not accept to give up so easily. He sat up and continued to hold the sword to attack Sun Yun. Sun Yun looked up at him, he continued to rush into his trap, now it was time to end the match. The sword appeared from nowhere and suddenly stabbed him in the back. With a confused and painful expression on his face, he screamed. He slowly turned around, then discovered that the sword was controlled by Sun Yun's bloody hand, taking advantage of the opportunity he was not paying attention to, directly killing him. That sword is the Iron Blood Sword and the loss of this guy's ring to another person. The smile on Sun Yun's lips bloomed, if with Sun Yun's thoughts the tower wanted to take advantage of those two to do it effectively, then he wouldn't be able to stay away from Sun Yun for a long time. In addition, he was able to eliminate his opponent's impatience. If Sun Yun takes advantage of those two really effectively, he will win. Sun Yun actively ran towards him, the battle was probably over. This old man suddenly screamed loudly, his body emitting a terrifying aura. The body suddenly turned giant, contorted, baring its teeth and puffing its cheeks at Sun Yun, while the blade was still stuck inside him. Sun Yun quickly ran in front of him, he had to quickly end this matter here, otherwise he wouldn't be able to make it in time. However, it was all too late now, his body became more and more bloated. His body became more and more crooked like Sun Yun stood still and looked at him. He didn't know what the hell was happening to him, the system didn't mention his change. It seemed like everything was over, but it turned out to be just the beginning. Fake Sun Yun turns into a monster, crazily attacking Sun Yun. He spread out his clawed hand to attack Sun Yun but still could not keep up with his moving speed. Counterfeit Sun Yun is extremely persistent. He actively bites off his fingertips. His fingertips seemed to turn into bullets, flying straight towards Sun Yun. Everywhere his finger fell created an explosion. Sun Yun begins to have a different view of him, his attack style has changed, what exactly is going on? The opponent's hand suddenly turned giant, trying to grab Sun Yun. Sun Yun realized he couldn't keep avoiding, so he stopped, ready to face his hand. The monsters became more and more crazy. Sun Yun, due to his defensive shield, successfully protected himself from his destructive attack. The cooldown time of the reaction ended just in time. Sun Yun held two swords in his hands. He challenged him. What are you waiting for? If Sun Yun had the heart to challenge, why wouldn't he hesitate to show it off? The monster used all parts of his body to attack Sun Yun. While Sun Yun was fighting with him, he realized that every attack the monster swung carried an explosive effect. Sun Yun calmly analyzed the situation. The beast could only make a large surprise attack in close combat. However, if he gets so angry that he loses control, he will lose a lot of stamina due to blood and ashes, and once he is exhausted, his attacks will stop. By the time the beast was tired, its whole body was shaking continuously, its steps were no longer as agile as before. Sun Yun immediately ran over, using his sword to gently beg the beast's arm. He would deliver the final blow, he had to resolve this as quickly as possible. However, life is a series of surprises, the monster growled, then suddenly changed direction. Sun Yun quickly chased after him, how could he let it escape? The beast turned and left to absorb the most evil impurities of this place, turning it into a fatal attack on Sun Yun. Sun Yun immediately activated the defensive shield skill to block his attack. Sun Yun really couldn't believe that the monster he had beaten to such an extent still had the strength to resist. Did he think he could turn the situation around? Sun Yun had also completed his absorption at this time, and his counterattack skill was prepared to respond to the damage received. Sun Yun threw the shock ball up, then turned the battlefield into a baseball field. He used his sword to throw the shock ball at the intended target. The beast ate his reaction, his body exploded. The beast no longer had a chance to transform, he reincarnated. After much hardship, Sun Yun finally passed the 12th level challenge. The crown for the A-class Ancient Emperor was transferred to his inventory. Sun Yun received 80,000 points, 3,500 SXP and B-level Ultimate Resistance skill. The end of the battle is also when the combat concentration skill is stopped. Recovery due to Sun Yun's concentration exceeding the limit will be initiated. Blood vomited from inside his mouth, and the blood and ashes skill continued to be activated. If you hadn't cheated with blood and ashes, you definitely wouldn't be standing here. Sun Yun looked at the liquid compounds gathering together into a sphere, not only that, but also placed above the body of the beast he had just killed. Sun Yun found it extremely interesting, it was another soul of his. Thiet Huyet has now also connected with Sun Yun. Sun Yun thanked her for what happened before, then, she took the initiative to send Sun Yun an item. This was the Black Dragon's Tears. Sun Yun also knew that if the administrator interfered too much with the fake challenge, he would be punished, so maybe Thiet Huyet gave him this. Immediately after that, there were a series of messages from other administrators sent to Sun Yun. Everyone praised his talent. Sun Yun looked at the notices they sent him. They only said what they wanted and would disappear when they were no longer interested. But for Sun Yun it was different. They sent him a bunch of messages for no reason, making Sun Yun wonder even more why they did that. In Sun Yun's mind there was only one thought: they had expanded the system and could make his request. Their pursuit gradually made his speculations more certain. Sun Yun smiled excitedly. If he thought about it carefully, when the system expanded later, it could also benefit administrators who did not have a contract. Sun Yun started to speak. He told them, "Don't you think it's unnecessary to send me a bunch of messages like this?" He then asked them to sponsor the authority he wanted, so that after the system expanded he could remember the sponsors. The administrator began to feel uncomfortable with Sun Yun's attitude. But Sun Yun didn't care, he reminded them, first come, first served, and he only needed 3 people. The administrators immediately went into a commotion, simultaneously sending messages wanting to add authority to the fake challenger's exclusive store. Sun Yun glanced at the enemy's body. What really mattered to him now was that the enemy not only had the same stats but also had identical skills and authority. He had just absorbed the soul of such a person. Sun Yun absorbed the soul of the fake Han Sun Yun fighter. His proficiency increased by 28%. The authority of the holy energy was transferred from the opponent to Sun Yun. A few lines of text appeared in front of Sun Yun, violating the divine extract. By absorbing the soul of the fake Han Sun Yun's stats were infinitely enhanced. His strength, flexibility, magic tolerance and durability increased by 10. Sun Yun also received the lightning skill. B-level sword energy, fusion of skill proficiency. The proficiency of the lightning sword air skill has reached 100%. Lightning sword energy skill has been upgraded by 1 level. Sun Yun's body now glowed again. A notice board appeared in front of him. The soul of the fake Han Sun Yun was completely compatible with the fusion of the soul of the fake Han Sun Yun. The Divine Power Authority met the condition and was activated to violate the Divine Extract. When the Divine Extraction is successful, the rank of the C+ level Holy Power Secret Fist has been increased by 1 level. B-level Holy Power Authority made divine transformation and mythological accumulation possible. Sun Yun had to scream, whatever the hell divine transformation and divine accumulation and mythical accumulation were. It couldn't possibly have any meaning. Maybe it was like that. The notice board continued to appear in front of him. The authority of C+ level holy power was engraved into Sun Yun's soul. Sun Yun did not know how to use this skill, so he did not pay attention to it. His holy power was finally able to be used. Sun Yun is moved to the 13th floor waiting room. Sun Yun can now access communities with other difficulty levels. Trial team members will no longer have a specific nationality. The country disaggregated review rankings at the global level will now also be fully consolidated. Sun Yun can view rankings on other difficulty levels. Sun Yun opened the 12th floor trial rankings. His face showed surprise. His name Hunter was at the top. Becoming the strongest person is probably the reason Sun Yun came to this tower. That is also the goal he sought. Now he is step by step closer to it. With the results he has achieved, Sun Yun can confidently say that he is the strongest among the fighters on Earth. However, dimensions like Ares, Kalian or Vo-Lam have existed in the trial tower for a long time. For comparison, the Earth has only officially become a dimension and is also the weakest dimension. Before Earth's general standards are raised, Earth will certainly be the target of other dimensions. Whether in the past or present, what Sun Yun wants is a power so terrible that no one can resist. Sun Yun continued to read the inventory order. The detailed description of the ancient emperor's crown immediately appeared before his eyes. Given its properties, it seems like this thing will be quite strong, but the notes seem a bit vague. Next, he continued to consider other rewards. Level B Ultimate Resistance Skill appears. This is a skill that can help the user escape death once, but the cooldown takes a week. Sun Yun thought about it, considering its use. This is not a problem. The important thing is that Sun Yun can escape death once. Sun Yun continued to open the list of authorities. The authority of Iron Blood Monarch, the authority of Bak Hak Swordsman and the authority of Sponsoring Authority appear. Sun Yun has selected authority sponsorship. 3 small authority items in the authority sponsorship continue to appear. Celestial Blood Cultivation Art Authority C+, Hero's Blessing Authority C+, and Magic Hair Authority C++. With these 3 authorities, Sun Yun does not need to think twice. Moreover, he has enough power to buy all 3 authorities. Next came the announcements of the administrator of the fallen heir of the Holy Blood Demon Cult, and the administrator of the fallen soldier in the world. The 1,000-year-old Dragon Slayer administrator simultaneously reminded Sun Yun, "Don't forget their support." Sun Yun waved his hand and said, "You already know, you'll memorize them." Sun Yun fell into deep thought. He thought about the divine extract. The divine extract was activated from somewhere unknown. He definitely felt an energy settling in his heart that he had never felt before the divine extract was activated. Perhaps it was holy energy. His chest glowed, he stretched his arms forward, but nothing happened. Sun Yun put his hands on his hips and sighed, just as he expected. It was exactly like when he practiced before entering the waiting room. His body was glowing. He couldn't use any special powers. The recovery and enhancement skills that the nuns on the 11th floor used, he couldn't imitate any of them. Sun Yun felt uncomfortable, but it was worth looking forward to. He asked himself, did they want him to use it? Sun Yun realized he was losing his temper, so he quickly sat down to meditate. He took a deep breath. He had to stay calm, otherwise that bad personality would find its way back again. At that moment, Bak Hak sent him a notice. She said she would teach him new holy powers. She also declared that she would become a better teacher than Iron Blood. Bak Hak also generously invited Sun Yun to join the board of directors, but Sun Yun refused. Bak Hak didn't understand why Sun Yun rejected him. Wouldn't it be good for Sun Yun to accept? Sun Yun simply explained that when he wants to study, he will study on his own, and moreover, he wants to do it himself rather than rely on others. In Sun Yun's mind, the image of Nam Gung Hyuk immediately appeared. He will definitely become stronger, by then Nam Gung Hyuk will only be a name. And now it's time for Sung Yoon to check the authority. He raised the price to the administrators. An information panel detailing the authority of the C+ heavenly blood cultivation technique appeared. This was the only thing that worried him. Recalling that time, when he fought with his opponent, the authority of the heavenly blood cultivation technique was activated. Sung Yoon felt at that time that he was born to fight. Right at this moment, another personality of Sung Yoon appeared. Sung Yoon frowned at him. That damn personality was in the same body as him at the same time. If nothing else, this has never happened before. The second personality picked up the sword. He wanted to personally kill Sung Yoon. Sung Yoon tried to control his body, his left arm raised, blocking the sword his right hand was holding. He reminded the second personality, if I die, you die too. The second personality in Sung Yoon's body showed a creepy smile. He told him, stupid, because I can't take it, I try to eliminate you. Sung Yoon's left and right hands struggled with each other. He had never expected this. Both swords suddenly reacted. They are absorbing the magical sword energy created by heavenly blood cultivation. The 4 words heavenly demon blood sword appeared in front of him. When the user has reached the realm of the fire sword, increasing blood energy to the maximum level, the ultimate skill will be unlocked. Sung Yoon immediately thought of a way to prevent this unfortunate situation. He deliberately held the blade. Blood immediately poured out from the inside of his palm. Thanks to the blood effect, his left arm successfully knocked his right arm away. Outsiders looking at Sung Yoon see him as just a madman letting his left and right hands duel with each other. But Sung Yoon is actually fighting against his corrupt personality. Sung Yoon stabbed the sword into his right arm. He would try to endure the pain. He would turn this personality into blood and then kick him out. The system appeared again, the conditions were met and the true power of the blood demon sword was unlocked. Sung Yoon's sword has been changed to the ultimate demon blood sword. A separate section for blood consumption has been created. The ultimate heavenly demon blood sword has increased to level A. The blood consumption unique effect of the ultimate heavenly demon blood sword has been created. The target for blood consumption has been created. Sung Yoon's fire dragon ice skill is activated. Since Sung Yoon had reached the fire sword, the dormant skills were displayed. If Sung Yoon uses it, the blood consumption exclusive effect can be activated. If Sung Yoon looked at the symbol in front of him, Sung Yoon would have understood something. The item in his hand was indeed a rare jackpot ticket. Sung Yoon didn't want to wait any longer. He immediately entered the 13th trial level. The subject of the trial was a strategic battle, and had to be completed in 14 days. Conditions passed. Cooperate with teammates within the given time limit to destroy the vampires. Failure. All team members die or time runs out. Additional reward received. A plus level random skill book. This challenge is a group challenge. Sung Yoon doesn't have very good memories of group trials. But if the reward was a random skill book, it was worth risking his life to complete the challenge. The system continuously pops up with notifications. The first trial level 13 has appeared. It has discovered that the city is dominated by vampires, and it has discovered that clerics are hiding in the vampire-dominated city. Sung Yoon entered the challenge. Team members were allocated by the system. The system reminds players, for synchronized gameplay, the nicknames of your team members will be assigned. Sung Yoon's group members also walked out one by one. The red-haired guy is Takowski. This blue-haired young man has met Sung Yoon before. His name is the legendary ninja. The last member is the clock tower mage. Sung Yoon recognized them. They were all high-level rankers, and he also remembered that he had seen that Japanese name on the rankings before. The clock magician observed everything around him. He smelled blood here. He wondered, is this a vampire's banquet room? As soon as he finished speaking, 2 vampires immediately appeared behind him. They answered his question. This was a vampire party. Then they rushed over and wanted to use his meat as dessert, but the 2 of them did not know that there were not only clock magicians here. Takatsuki and the Japanese ninja immediately demonstrated their fighting skills. The 2 small vampires immediately turned into prey under their blades. The ninja looked at Takatsuki's attack. He was even more certain that Takatsuki was from the largest guild in Russia. If his teammates had noticed, Takatsuki wouldn't have needed to hide anything. He confidently introduced himself as the guild's president.